Alrighty, well, we have hit 10 o'clock. We're back out of our closed session and coming back into open session here. We're going to start with WSU Extension and Dan Teuteberg. Dan, take it away.
Thank you, commissioners. I appreciate it. This is just our usual update on our program happenings. Our summer program report was included in your packet. Just some topics here for you. 4-H did a wonderful job getting back into face-to-face programming this last few months. We wrapped up our summer. We included our first summer camp that we've had in 3 years. We had over 80 campers participate in that summer camp, trained over 30 youth staff in that, and had a marvelous time. It was good to be back with our summer camp. That's one of our high points of our summer for our 4-Hers. Fair was also in August. We had over 100 entries from Mason County youth into the Grays Harbor County Fair. Mason County 4-H uses the Grays Harbor County Fair as their spot that they exhibit their entries, and it was quite the showing. We tried out archery at the fair this year to some great success. It was a lot of fun seeing our local archers participating in those activities. So our 4-H program is growing and happening. We start our 4-H year October 1st, so this is the time that we're planning and doing all those pieces for the upcoming year for that. Our Master Gardeners had a great summer as well, doing quite a bit of growing of their plants and things. Our plant clinic is taken off. A lot of people bring in plants and bugs and things to help with identification. Last Thursday evening, we were up at Catalyst Park, kind of celebrating the garden, celebrating the efforts of our Master Gardener volunteers and things like that. So it was a great evening in the garden, showcasing those pieces. Our SNAP Ed program does a tremendous job moving ahead with SNAP benefit education. They're ramping up now, looking at partnerships with therapeutic courts again, Pioneer School District, and we're working with the local farmers market there too. Our food safety, this is the time of year where food preservation is key. You're growing all those things and people have questions on how do you can and what are the proper things to do that. I would need to mention, please, if you have a pressure gauge, please have it checked annually. Our office can do that for you. And using grandma's old green bean recipe is never a good choice. Please call us and we'll get you the right information. Sadly, last year, there was a botulism case where a gentleman actually passed away in Grays Harbor County last year. So food canning and food safety is a real thing, and we take it very seriously. And we do offer those services, so please let us know. So that's our programming, just some highlights. The whole report is there for you. If you have questions, please let me know. I do need to mention Kendall Carmen, our small farms educator, Master Gardener coordinator, took a new position. So she has left our office as of Friday. She went to the Conservation District of Thurston County. So I will be looking at refilling that position moving forward. No impact to the county budget, things like that. Remember, for that position, the county pays $15,000 annually, and WSU compensates the rest of that position. So that was already included in the 2023 budget. So we should be okay with those pieces there. But I did want to let you know, I'll be looking at refilling that position later on this fall. And of course, Pat Grover's position is being looked at as well. Interviews and applications are being looked at this week, and we should be scheduling that moving forward. That's it for me. Any questions?
Excellent. Commissioners?
Happy to see them moving on and growing, but we'll also miss them. I love your reports. I think that they're awesome, and what you're doing for the county is pretty darn cool. So appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Great. I appreciate commissioners. If you have anything, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll be in touch. I'm sure we'll be hiring soon, so I will introduce you to our new hires soon.
Excellent. Thanks, Dan. Take care. Okay, next up, we're moving into Public Works. Loretta? Not sure if Loretta is available. Give her another second here.
I saw her. She's on there.
Yeah.
I'll give her a quick
Good
call.
morning, commissioners. Sorry, I'm hanging out with Richard.
Oh, okay.
We're over here yakking and catching up. are you? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Well, commissioners, we just have a couple of discussion items this morning and just want to touch base with you. Number one, about the tip cap membership. And I did see we do have another applicant or one application that came in, and wanted to let you know that we do have 4 members appointed. And so we do not have a quorum for our meeting coming up. Let's see, next week, next Wednesday. We do have other applicants, and just wanted to circle back with commissioners and see how you would like to proceed.
Commissioner Ellen, how about I let you go first? You had an issue with not being able to speak the last time, so why don't you kick off?
Yeah, and it's not an issue of not being able to speak. It's the issue of having the other commissioners select mine without input from me. So we're sitting here with a situation where you've already selected 2 from my district. One of the ones that's still an applicant from my district, which are still an opening, has served on that board with great. He's done an incredible job over the years. Great leadership. He brings the knowledge of the infrastructure and how it works, and he's been the chair 7 years for free. He did this. And for us not to appoint him absolutely makes no sense, because there's no reason why he shouldn't be on there. And that first one would be Jack Johnson. So I again, for my district, I definitely think we should be appointing Jack Johnson, who was the chair and has all this history there, to serve in that position, again, representing this county and the citizens up in the North Mason area.
Okay, anything else?
No, you guys have your areas. I don't know who you have that you'd like to put in there.
Can I quickly ask a question? Commissioner, are you recommending that we reappoint Jack Johnson?
Absolutely. Representing up in the district number 1. He's got all the history, he's got all the experience, and he's done an exceptional job. It was through him and Jeff Carey that we brought forward and started meeting with the communities and actually getting input from them. And as you'll see with Mark, if you talk to Mark, and also with Loretta, he's the one that brings the knowledge of how to do the jobs. Jeff Carey always brought the numbers. And if we have unfilled positions, then I would also recommend that we get Jeff Carey in there as well. But considering that we're going to be putting them on the planning commission, deference needs to go to the one that's serving singularly. So
just Mark, I saw your hand up. Do you have a comment or a question or whatever?
I had a comment. So we recently changed our resolution in terms of the membership of TIPCAP and what it represents. And we really, I think it was an attempt to get representation from each one of the commissioner districts to participate on this committee. We've had great participation from individuals up north, like Commissioner Netherland said. And I think what I was concerned about most is that we have individuals that have served on this committee for a while that have reapplied. And I just wanted to make sure that we were clear with them in terms of how we were moving forward. And if we're choosing to appoint other individuals and bring in new ideas and new voices into this process, then that's fine. I just want to make sure that it's clear with those individuals that have requested to be reconsidered for appointment, what their status currently is. And so right now we have 2 individuals that are appointed to District 1, and there is 1 opening, and we have a couple of folks that were on TIPCAP in the past and requested to continue to serve.
Okay. So from my perspective, again, I'll just say I've reappointed everybody who I'm willing and able to reappoint from that initial list of applicants. We did receive another application today I had a phone call over the weekend that another gentleman from Oak Park is submitting, mailed in an application over late last week. And then I received another call from individuals that live in the Island Lake area that are interested in serving and are out of town, but will submit an application at that time when they're home later on this week. And so, I do think that it's time to go in a different direction. I think it's time to have some fresh voices on there. We did reappoint 3 people who have experience on TIPCAP. So there's, I think, a more of an emphasis on balance. And I'm not sure where Jack lives. But if, we've appointed for the 2 rural positions in District 1, 1 rural position in District 2, and 1 rural position in District 3. And I think we have those other folks that I mentioned that are submitting applications would be from the rural and Shelton UGA areas as well. So I think at this time, I'm interested in seeing those applications come in and having interviews.
Right. And I do have a couple of people that are submitting applications also from that I've spoken to over the weekend. I would like to get all the applications, the new ones that are coming in, and the old ones, and just take a look at all of them, get recommendations from the commissioners' districts. And I'm pretty excited that because we redid the makeup of the committee, I feel it's more representative of each commissioner's district, and I know that that's important to all of us. So if we can just maybe get the applications together and then interview.
Yeah, just a question for Loretta. So you said we don't have a quorum. I understand that. We need 1 more to have a quorum. But there's no prohibition on that group meeting and having a conversation. I know that when I was on the planning commission, and maybe Commissioner Netherland, this was the case for you when you were on that as well, that even though there isn't a quorum seated or in attendance at a meeting, that conversation can still happen, and it's a matter of not being able to take a vote. Is that your understanding? Is there anything in the bylaws that say otherwise?
There is nothing, Commissioner, in the bylaws that would prohibit them from meeting. And it is noticed on our webpage when their regular meetings are. So the Open Public Meetings Act would be complied with as well.
Great. Mark?
So it sounds like you guys have done some recruiting within your districts, which I'm happy to hear that. I'm interested in a timeline. So I'm hearing from both Commissioner Schutte and Commissioner Trask that you'd like to do a process where we bring the applications forward. You have the ability to interview them. It's clearly defined what position that they would represent within our new membership criteria. And then we would assign somebody. So it's fine that we're not going to have a quorum, Loretta, right? I mean, going into this next meeting.
Yeah,
but would like a timeline associated with when do we got to bring this stuff back to you, right? So when do you guys? We obviously received 1 application this morning. Do you have any ideas as to when the other individuals that you've spoken with will be turning in their applications, and then trying to put something on the calendar for when we can bring this back to the board?
Yeah, so I guess I had forwarded an email or a voicemail to Loretta. I'm not sure if I did that right, but they indicated that they dropped their application in the mail on Thursday evening, and so depending on when mail arrives today or tomorrow, I'm anticipating there being an application in there. If not then certainly this week at some point. And so, if this is something that we just want to take on a rolling basis, and we get an application in and schedule an interview, then I think that's great. But I don't, beyond the mail system. I'm not sure, they say they drop it in the mail, we'll get the application, and we'll just kind of, keep this on the agenda, I guess.
Yeah, I would say that from the people that I spoke with, probably within the next 2 weeks, they'll have their applications done.
And I think that Commissioner Netherland, I guess the question, are you comfortable with that process?
No, again, you guys, we went through this whole process this last week and tried to make it sound like my district had done this or I had done that. It's ridiculous because Commissioner Schutte, your position has been open on TIPCAP since the beginning. They've gone out there and tried to recruit from your place. I went out there and tried to recruit from your issue. It was not for any of their fault that your district did not have representation on there until the lady from the transit went on there. We had a great organization that was working very well together and we blew it up. And now we have to start from scratch. And we definitely are going out and we're handpicking people instead of going out to the public as we did originally and asked them to apply. And they came in through the process of advertisement. Now we're going out individually to try and get people we know. It isn't appropriate the way it's being handled. But more than that, again, we're in a situation where I've worked very hard over the years, but these people worked very hard. And it's so sad that the people that put in all that time, their reward is to be treated like this after 7 years of service for free and actually showing up to all those meetings, going to all those public events and making these things happen. Their reward is to be treated like this. It's just amazing to me. So it doesn't matter where I'm at on it. As I said, at this point, I haven't even been able to select a single person from my district with any input from me. So the other two commissioners are deciding who serves in mine. And it was great you appointed 2 people into mine and nobody in your district, Kevin, but it's just not right. So I would like for the one person that was the chair and had done all this work for 7 years to at least get appointed so we have the quorum and can get back to work.
So a lot to unpack there, and I'm not going to address all of that because it's just, I think it's futile at this point. All of these people also applied through the public process. We've noticed it and done press releases. So to say that it's just through recruitment is absurd, especially when for a long, long time, it was full of people that were very close connections of yours. And so I don't think we should be going down that path, Commissioner. I think that's ridiculous. I think we're getting people who are actually interested in transportation projects. And at no point was I insinuating that you or the current and previous members of the TIPCAP had any responsibility for open positions in District 2. That's just not the case. What we have now is actually people from District 2 who are interested in applying because they have real and legitimate transportation needs and concerns. And this TIPCAP, since you reworked it several years ago, has been heavily weighted towards District 1. That's fine. A lot of transportation needs up there. And we went through a process which we unanimously agreed on, that we were going to revamp the organization of TIPCAP. And this is part of that process. This is part of the growing pains of a reorganization. And I'm not sure Jack is eligible based on the organization that we agreed on and the appointments that we made. So let's dig into that a little bit more. But I have questions about that. And I think there are going to be other applications that are coming in from people who are genuinely interested in contributing to their community's transportation needs. And so that's the driver of this. And you can believe that or not. It's totally your choice. But I think we have reappointed qualified people from each part of the county. And I think we're going to continue to do that based on the applications that come in.
Loretta, how many times did we go out?
Well, it's been, certainly at least twice within the last 6 months. We've put it on the What's New page. It's been continuously open, I believe, through the commissioner's office as well. Diane and McKinsey put out current openings on all advisory boards. Mm-hmm. So as far as I know, at least twice within the last 6 months, Commissioner.
And we've had that other position open for how many years? since the beginning, right? It's never been filled. So that position's been open for anybody in the public, and it's been advertised and put out many times over the last 7 years.
Great.
Yes.
Great.
So
No, that's
it's only now that we're doing it in this manner.
Sure, that's fantastic. I think the important part is that this is a new organization for TIPCAP. The past is in the past. And now we're recruiting and accepting applications for the positions as they are now, not as they were before, under the very prescriptive organization that you created. This is a new way. And it's been open like this for just a handful of weeks. And now we're starting to see interest. I think, as you know, over the summer months, people probably don't pay as much of attention to these types of things as they're away and doing other family things. Now that we're back into the regular routine of fall, I think there's more interest, and I'm very interested in seeing the applications that come forward.
Well, just for clarification for what I created, if you want to say it that way, there was 2 other commissioners at the time when we pulled all this together. But so the community knows, we had 1 person from each district represented. We had trucking represented. We had parks, I think, represented at one point. We had bicycle users represented. That's how it was set up. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary, and it was very effective. As I said, it did very well for a lot of years. And as for project, there's been no new project in my district that anybody has benefited, because somebody from bicycles have been on there, or trucking and the like. So I just want to make that clear. If anything, I just wish we would be able to have the same open process that we'd had for all these years, instead of individually going out and stacking the board.
I don't understand why you think this isn't open. Because
it is open, because
very open.
you have decided not to fill them with the people. And again, my biggest concern is you go ahead and you select from my district because you don't like people, and you select them from my district who represents my district without input from me, but yet you don't even appoint somebody for yourself. The one that was on there that does sit in your district still should need to reapply, because she was actually appointed for transit, not for your district. So she needs.
Great. Well, let's put a reappointment of Amy Asher on the agenda tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's reappoint Amy Asher. She's fantastic. She's well versed. She knows transit and transportation better than most people, and I think brings a ton of really good experience to the TIPCAP committee. So I would be more than happy to support reappointing Amy Asher if you feel that she needs to be reappointed.
Yeah, I think she does need to reapply like everybody else when we change the structure, but I have no problem reappointing Amy Asher. She's the one person from your district in all these years. It makes sense. But again, it would make sense that you also recommend somebody from your district for appointment, instead of going over the top and deciding who should represent my district without input from the commissioner. You know, it's fun to sit and do all these things, but eventually this stuff comes back to you too. I hope it doesn't, because it's been pretty ridiculous to be on the receiving side of this. You know, imagine if somebody selected your people for you every time.
Well, frankly,
you can smile, but the truth of the matter is that's the reality of it. And you took people who had served honorably for 7 years, and you didn't even give them a shot because you're mad at them or don't like it, whatever.
It's again, really bizarre to hear you impugn my motives like that. We continue to have the same conversation, Commissioner, and I'm not saying that the only reason that you want Jack Johnson reappointed is because he's donated thousands of dollars to your campaigns over the years. That would be an absurd thing for me to insinuate.
Well, you just did, but that's not it. Anybody that knows that and you ask Loretta, he's been the chair, he's been the one running it and bringing the infrastructure knowledge. Out of all the people on the committee, if you go to the committee, you would see that he's the one that brought that, and Jeff Carey brought the financial. They were wonderful on that committee, and it's just so sad that you would take them off for personal reasons. And that's what this is.
Again, you're implying that there are personal reasons that I'm taking Jack Johnson off, that I'm not supporting Jack Johnson's reappointment.
And it's not just Jack, but.
So I don't want to interrupt, but I am. So I've got, I feel like I've got clear direction on how to move forward with Loretta on this. We will go ahead and pull the individuals that have applied applications together, and we can present them. We can be very clear as to what they represent on this new structure for tip cap. I definitely don't want any of this discussion to cast, negative feelings on those individuals that have served on this committee, because I believe all three commissioners appreciate the service that they've done. And I can tell you that Loretta and her staff have enjoyed working with those folks. So I hopefully they'll still continue to be involved in other parts if they're not on tip cap, and continue to be involved in Mason County government. We definitely appreciate the citizen participation that's been in there. So I feel comfortable that I can move forward with the direction from the majority of the board.
Can I just jump in real quick? Just a real quick comment. Sometimes change is hard. And I know that I've spoken with Mark about our website, because I think that our website can be a lot more friendly. And sometimes it's hard to find our citizen advisory committees. And so I do think that there are issues that we have within our purview, our website, that we can address and make it a little more user friendly. But I'm pretty excited about the way that the commission is moving forward in making sure that our county, each district is represented. So I'll just end it there. And then I see Loretta's hand.
Commissioner, you mentioned the web page, and if I could share my screen real quick, happy to point that out to anybody that may be on this morning. So at the very top, well, first of all, am I sharing screen?
Nope.
Nope. Do I need permission to share? Maybe now. There we go. How's that look?
Great.
All right. So for anyone out there interested, here is the county's homepage, and across the top you can see advisory boards, and you've got a little drop down. And if you're interested in tip cap, here's basic information about tip cap. Also, I'd point out that if you're not interested in joining the committee, but just have a transportation issue or question or concern, you can submit an online comment right here on this page. And then if you are interested in applying, here's a link to the application for the membership and the current appointments, and some basic other information just about transportation in general, and links that hopefully will help folks that may be interested in applying to learn a little bit more. And of course, I'm always ready, welcome, happy to speak with folks about that as well.
Loretta, I want to thank you for getting this changed. For a while, it was stuck in old mode.
It's a constant need. So commissioners, if you ever see things, and Mark's been great about pointing out, hey, Loretta, this link doesn't work. This is old business. Let's get this straightened out. So always, we should be doing that on our own, but often links get broken and things change. So always welcome your observations to make it better.
Thank you.
All right. Well, next on the agenda, commissioners, is just a quickie update for you. You may recall that as we started construction for the Olympic View and Olympic Ridge projects, that the developer there was constructing the trunk line through the development, and had intended to make use of the county's code for a latecomers agreement. So they are at the stage now where they're wrapping up the main construction and gathering final construction costs. And just wanted to alert you that we are in the beginning stages now of talking about the latecomers agreement itself and the format and all of that good stuff. So we'll be working with Mark and Tim Whitehead in the prosecutor's office. And as we get a little bit further, certainly we'll be bringing that to commissioners as well, because there will be decisions and of course the execution of the final agreement. So in the meantime, if there's anything that we can get you in advance just to kind of prep, wrap your minds around a latecomers agreement, happy to do that.
Definitely love a copy of it as it comes in.
Yep, absolutely.
Any other questions or comments for Loretta?
You still haven't found that one from Alan?
No, Commissioner, I have a draft and that is it, but no indication that anything was ever executed.
Kevin, do you remember us executing the latecomers and Alan?
I do not.
And was that for the North Bay sewer,
Yeah.
Commissioner?
Yeah, I don't remember us actually having a vote on it. I just remember us discussing. I remember that that was the first one. I remember staff had learned how to do it on this one, but I can't say that I actually remember it coming before the commission for a vote.
Yeah, there, like I said, we will continue searching, but I see no record on the commission resolutions or actions, and certainly nothing on our end. All right, I guess with that, I'm going to have Richard give you some quickie good news updates. We've made some pretty awesome progress on system improvements on our wastewater facilities. And hopefully Richard's still there. Yes, he is.
Hey, still here. All right, so as most of you know, the Lakeland pump station has been a pretty sore spot this last year. And through a lot of hard work from Justin and his crew, that has been resolved. We've got new pumps, new electronics, new variable frequency drives. And if anybody's interested in going out and checking it out, this is the nicest pump station we own right now. So we'd love to take you out there and show you a little bit of elbow grease and stuff it turns out to looking like. That's for North Bay. I think there's other system improvements. So I'll give you a little, for instance, on solid waste.
Richard, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but before you get away from North Bay,
Yeah.
we also order some new lids that we were going to put on certain areas.
That's true. Yeah, we're not done with the Lakeland area. There's a little bit of preventative work just in case the worst case scenario arises again. The low manholes just upstream of the Lakeland pump station, we've ordered new sealing. You'd be able, they're watertight manhole lids that we'll be able to put in place, and that'll give us a little extra capacity, and it'll keep it from running directly into the lake. There's a little bit of investigation we need to do on 2 of the homes that might require a backflow prevention valve, much like we put on the business in front of the trailer park pump station, so we don't have it running out the building in case it gets worse. So that is something we're looking into. The manhole covers are on their way, and so those will get installed this year as well.
So this is the one right by the park there, right by the water?
Correct.
Yeah, no, that's a smart move to think about those couple homes right down there on that lower part,
Yep.
right next to the park. That could be a problem. Hopefully we never get it up that high again, though.
Amen. Amen. We're happy about the progress that's been made. And then as a side note, we replaced that generator, the mobile generator. So we do have that now, and it's here at Public Works. So that's another part of our prevention. And so we're feeling good about that. And like I said, now moving on to solid waste, just wanted to thank you for letting us change from the old compactor kind of thing we had, I can't even remember what you call it, it's still there, but we have a new excavator with a special clamshell type bucket that allows us to compact the cans a lot more consistent. Between that and just the systems that we run out there with the scale, the solid waste attendants and their communication to the people out back loading those cans, we've been able to average a little over 25 tons per can. That's what we contractually, we pay for 25 tons per can no matter what. So if we can get a little extra in there, we'll still pay for that weight going over, but we've been able to reduce the amount of trips significantly this year. Like we've saved over 80 trips that didn't have to be taken. And at $1,400 a trip, that's a little over $100,000 in savings due to just some really good work, good communication, and the right equipment. And so I'd like to give a little thank you and a hats off to our solid waste folks for being dedicated and just doing a great job.
Good job. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, no, that is huge. We are so excited and proud of the team for that. Absolutely.
And that's just 2/3 you're done, you know, so we're expecting to save a bunch more.
That's awesome.
Great work.
Okay, I think that's it for good news, and we've kind of gone over time. I apologize, commissioners.
Okay,
Actually, I'm pretty sure that was my fault, Loretta, not yours.
Oh, I do have one last little thing. Ginger popped in here and she let me know that we also have on our TipCap page Zoom information. So this is something that we had done occasionally, but just want to be able to broaden access for any community members, again, who may be interested in this. So we also have a Zoom link. So thank you, Ginger, for making that happen.
Very cool.
Excellent. Okay, anything for Loretta or Richard?
Yeah, just real quick, can you reach out to the stripers?
Yes.
Thank them so much for all the new stripes on the roads. In my area, it's just pretty darn amazing. And it has helped and reduced a lot of misses. I mean, well, maybe not reduced, but it made it easier so that there are no more near misses in the roadways. So thank them so much.
Definitely. Thank you for passing that along, Commissioner. We too have been hearing compliments on that. So that's a contract striper that's been doing that work. And we've been pleased with their work this year. Also, our crews have been doing things to kind of lighten up and cue drivers to approaching intersections as well. So hopefully that will help, particularly nighttime driving. And then also, you may know that we chip sealed out at Sunnyside. And so that road has new delineators. Anything we can do to just help better cue drivers, particularly at night. Here's the edge of the road. Stay on it.
Yeah, no, I think that they're doing a great job. I appreciate it for one, and I've had other people come up and express their appreciation.
Yeah, great.
As I get older, I appreciate the visibility aspect, but also this year I have not received a call of us painting over the top of roadkill like I have, but it wasn't us, it was the state.
Oh, Commissioner Winter forwarded me a lovely little Facebook post.
But that wasn't us though. That was the state highway.
Oh,
I drove by it every day.
It was clever.
It was interesting.
It was clever. Yeah, it's hard to stop the roll. I know it seems kind of crazy that you would just paint right over something on the edge, but imagine stopping the roll, getting out, moving, and then restarting. So sadly, yes, there are some critters that get a new paint job and custom hair job.
Okay, anything else? All right, excellent. Thanks, Loretta. Thanks, Richard.
Yeah, thank you, commissioners.
All right, moving on to coroner's office. Jamie, you're with us?
Yes, I'm here. So I know that we need to change the verbiage on our interlocal agreement. So they were going to try to strike it for today, but I can still go over it. So it's just an interlocal agreement with Kitsap County for facility use only. So if we can't use Thurston County, then we can use Kitsap. That's basically all it is.
Okay, commissioners, any questions or comments?
It's great that you reach outside to make it happen. Thank you.
Yeah, Jamie, I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you. It's been a lot of work lately, but I appreciate that.
You're reaching out and that's much appreciated.
Good. Thank you.
I'm supportive as well. Mark, I see your hand up.
I just wanted to let the commissioners know that Jamie's done a great job of reaching out to ask me questions. I'm doing some research on the latest question that you gave me.
Great. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. I will get back to you on what our options are, but I just think it's the times that we're in right now. It's going to require some changes for our coroner's office. And, you know, Jamie's currently kind of in the race, unopposed, thank goodness. So that's great. But we're going to be moving forward with some of these things and just trying to, I mean, it's nice that we have a community that is supportive and that they help us store some of the items that we need to store. But
Yes,
we definitely need to look for what those permanent solutions look like moving forward. And so I've been working with Jamie and I just I appreciate Gary Warnock from Thurston County. I worked with him in the past, and so I often call him and pick his brain about things that we're able to do or what's the best approach. So let's keep those lines of communication open, Jamie.
Great. Appreciate that.
Excellent. Anything else for our coroner? Okay. Thanks, Jamie. Take care. Next up, we have community services. Dave.
Good morning, commissioners. So we have one item on the agenda this morning, and then I've got a comment or two. Our first item is the Board of County Commissioners are accepting application to fill 2 community positions for Mason County Housing and Behavioral Health Advisory Board. So this has been briefed in the past. It's going on to the action agenda tomorrow. Again, it's a 7-member board appointed to advise the Board of County Commissioners on the use of state and local funds to address affordable housing, homelessness, behavioral health treatment in Mason County. So we're just looking to fill those 2 positions, and that will go on the action agenda for tomorrow.
Great. Any questions or comments for Dave on the news release?
Great. We've got this up on our website.
Okay.
Was that a question or a statement, Commissioner Trask?
Oh, I was more of a question.
Oh, okay.
Make sure that it's up there.
I will double check, make sure it's up there. Yeah. Typically, we put that on when we do the public announcement.
Okay.
Tammy, I think if you could mute yourself. I don't know if I can do that. Oh, we lost Tammy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. The other thing, commissioners, if there's no more questions on that, is that Governor Inslee did announce on Thursday the expiration of the emergency declaration as of October 31st. So that is going to affect us in a couple of ways. We'll have to look at our own emergency declaration, make sure that we align that. There's going to be some changes in funding, and then we'll probably look at standing down area command in October, and then just rolling what's left of that response into public health. So over the next couple of weeks, we'll be looking at those things. For example, we have one funding source that's going to end October 18th. That's specifically COVID related. And then we have another fund that will end on December 31st. And that's the latest we've gotten from DOH. And that's as of this morning. So they're letting us know that those 2 funds will be changing. We're not using any FEMA funds. So the governor had quite a discussion about the FEMA piece. But for public health, we did not use FEMA funds. So that's not going to affect us.
Are there any positions ending because of it?
Actually, what we're doing, Commissioner, we've got that Foundational Public Health Services funding And we're going to transition people from COVID into an expansion of our foundational public health services.
Good. Sounds like much more to come.
Yep. October is going to be a busy month. And that's all I have, commissioners, unless there's any other questions.
Okay. Anything for Dave? Okay, great. Thanks, Dave.
All right, thanks.
All right, Mark, you're up.
We've got a list for you today. So Diane, you want to get us started off with our employee service awards?
Sure. Good morning. So I'm planning for our employee service awards, and I'm proposing we invite those employees who are eligible to the October 11th commission meeting. And then my question to the board is, do we want to serve maybe some kind of light breakfast since it'll be in the morning?
I think that'd be great. I mean, if we can do it, I think.
Yeah, we can do it. I'll need
We've always
donations.
done it at the Colonial House, so.
Yes, we have. The price there has gone up quite a bit. So that's why I was trying to find something that's more economic.
I would say, are we big enough?
But this year there's about 30 people and we never get all of them to come. So, I mean, yeah, we can make it work, I think.
Well, I trust you.
We'll see if it works. I'm sure it will, but I wanted to ask because then I'll need the board if you want to contribute so we could buy some kind of light breakfast things that would work.
You need us to kick in individually?
Yes.
Okay, I'm down.
Okay.
Just let us know how much.
Okay. Okay, I'll come up with something. Thank you.
Mr. Taylor. Talk about wildfires. We actually had some incidences here in Mason County.
We have, sir, but nothing since the 12th. So we're looking pretty good, even though the weather is still in the red zone. Commissioners, today I'd like to talk to you about supporting Mason County PUD 1 in their application for the same grant that we're applying for, but a different section of it, which is the, let me get it right here, acronyms. The County Wildland Fire Protection grant, which they're applying for the PUD side, and they've asked us for a letter of support, which I'm coming to you to ask for signature as well. We'll be bringing it forward at the next commission approval agenda meeting so that that can be signed. That will help support their request, and they're getting one for us because we're applying for the emergency management planning side for the 250,000. So their commissioners will be signing a letter for us as well. So is there any questions on that?
None for me. I'm supportive.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you. I think that's all I have.
Thanks, John.
Gotta find my mute button. So that actually killed two birds, or two of our items off the list. And now we have Mary Rancier to talk about our collective bargaining agreements.
Morning, commissioners. I wanted to put before you for potential ratification as an agenda item tomorrow, the January 1, 2022 to December 31, 2024 collective bargaining agreement for Teamsters Union Local number 252. This one's representing the Mason County Appraisers Unit. The representatives of Teamsters have reached a tentative agreement with us for that 2-year contract. I would like to note that and commend both parties through a very collaborative negotiations process, which I think was very successful. This will be a supplemental, and so our action request for tomorrow is to ratify this contract with the union.
Excellent. Commissioners?
Very cool.
Absolutely great job. Thank you to our employees also for working with us the way that they did in order for us to come to something that's beneficial to the citizens and to them at the same time.
There's just
And-
always, sorry, Mary, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, there's always so much work that goes into negotiating these contracts, and certainly our negotiating team has put a lot of effort into it, but also on the labor side, there's just so much work, and it's always so gratifying and rewarding to be able to get to this point where we're able to vote on an agreed upon contract that was supported by the employees and move that forward.
So that brings me to the second contract, which we'll be asking for ratification for tomorrow, which is the effective upon ratification. So hopefully September 13, 2022 through December 31, 2024. CBA for Teamsters Union Local number 252. This one now representing the Mason County Prosecutors Clerical Unit. And again, I think that the collaborative negotiations process was very successful. And again, a supplemental budget impact.
That's
And
awesome.
this is a brand new.
This is a brand new collective bargaining agreement. Yes.
Yeah, you guys are doing such a great job, and I appreciate everybody out there. It takes a team, so to speak, to accomplish everything that you guys have. And I for one appreciate you guys so much, and all the negotiators, and with Commissioner Netherland, I appreciate all of our employees also.
Excellent. Thanks, Mary.
So the next, I'm going to just turn it over to Jennifer. Jennifer's got a list of stuff to talk to you guys about this morning. So.
Yeah, good morning, commissioners. I have 6 items to talk to you about. So the first thing on my list is the request to award funding from the .09 Rural County Sales and Use Tax Fund. So we had one application from the Economic Development Council for funding, and the amount that was requested was $90,000. But I'm going to turn it over to Jennifer Baria with the EDC and let her talk about her application.
Oh, can't hear you.
Those stupid mute buttons. After 3 years, you should know them already, but no. So I appreciate the time that you guys have for this. Thank you, Jennifer, for working with me on the application. Just wanted to kind of go over what we're asking for, which is the maintenance of what we approved back in 2021 was when you guys did that increase. We're asking just for a continuation of that same amount. But I did want to let you guys know that I had a really good discussion with my board on Thursday, and there's quite a bit of federal funding activity that's coming up that's going to necessitate a lot of work around pulling together a united plan for either Mason County or for a regional ask, essentially. If you guys haven't had a chance to read through it, I've met with Kilmer's office on the recompete plan and the pilot programs that they're going to be doing through that. It is going to be highly competitive and definitely something that we're going to need to pull together a cohesive application for. That is going to require additional work and additional funding. So I reached out and talked with Jennifer a little bit about potentially pulling back this application and adding that work into it and resubmitting, or if it's a better idea to separate them and have them be 2 completely different funding asks. So that's kind of where I am, kicking it to you guys to see how you would like to see that breakdown happen.
And one thing to keep in mind, commissioners, is that we need to circulate to the city of Shelton, the port districts that are located within the county, this application, or notice that we received this application. So I had this going on to the action agenda on October 4th. So we do have time for Jennifer to put together a different application if that's, what you want her to do. But I just wanted you to keep in mind that there will be some time needed to circulate that.
How much notice do we have to have or put out?
I don't know that it states that a time frame, but I think I normally give them about 2 weeks.
Diane Poplin.
Yeah, there's nothing required in the RCW, but we always do allow 2 to 3 weeks just because like the ports, a lot of them they only meet once a month. So we want to give them plenty of time so they can comment back.
Oh, I'm good with 2 separate applications if that's that way you don't have to redo.
Yeah, I mean, I think, being able to have a more defined deliverable, for the increase, would be helpful. That way we know what we're funding. It's a little bit more transparent. And then we do have like I said, that deliverable that's attached to it.
Agreed.
So Jennifer, do you know about how long it would take to get a new application in?
That's a little bit more of a trickier question. I've got a call into Kilmer's office. Hopefully I'll be able to have a better timeline. I'm happy to shoot that back to you. They are still putting together the guidelines around what this looks like. I'm just trying to get us into a position where we can act quickly once those go in, because it's definitely going to move pretty fast. So,
So
I wish I had a
suggest,
timeline.
I might suggest just bringing this back next Monday. And I think by then, hopefully you'll have heard back from Congressman Kilmer's office with a little bit of information, just so that we're not kicking this out indefinitely, so that we're still able to meet all the other solicitation requirements for the 09. I think in that way, we're kind of holding a timeline. If you come back to us, in a week and you haven't heard back or don't have, we don't have the information that we need. Worst case scenario is we move forward with the application as is, and then we revisit, when there's a little bit more clarity on an increase.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, that works for me.
Commissioners?
No, I think that's a great idea.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, guys.
So the next thing that I have is reallocating, a request to reallocate, and on the briefing it states 100,000 of ARPA funds from the Public Works Pump Station #3 project to Mason County utility arrearages. But after talking to Richard this morning, he stated that the Public Works Pump Station project, the bids came in a little bit higher than what he had originally been told. And so there's going to be about $90,000 to reallocate from the Pump Station #3 project instead of 100,000, which would still give us enough funding to, help most people that are in threat of being foreclosed on because of their utilities arrearages. So, so that's the request, commissioners, is to move 90,000 out of the Belfair Pump Station project #3, which was 180,000 that was allocated there. And so to move half of that money out and then move that half into utility arrearages. And Lisa Frazier, we've been working with her on this, and her office would actually take the lead on it and would facilitate it just like they're doing the property tax arrearages for ARPA. And so they already have a really nice process in place for that. And Lisa would be on, but she is on vacation this week.
Lucky Lisa.
Yeah, a much needed vacation, I'm sure. She works really hard.
Definitely want to get that in before October in the treasurer's office.
Right.
So with the understanding that she's the treasurer is comfortable with this and managing the project, I'm comfortable with the reallocation.
Yeah. As am I. I just want to make sure that because the funds are directly supposed to go to people that have been affected by the COVID the past 2 years. So just to make sure that that's covered and we get no findings.
Yeah, they would sign an attestation form that it's because of COVID that they're in arrearages. And yeah, just like the same process with the property taxes, which was actually audited this year and passed. So I am comfortable with it as well.
I think that's exciting. I think it's cool.
Okay, great. Then we'll move that onto the next agenda in a couple weeks. So thank you. So the next item that we have is a contract amendment for the Mason County Housing Authority. And this is just to add in into the ARPA contract with them that customers can include a signed attestation as proof of lost wages or increase of household expenses instead of having to actually provide us with receipts and things like that, that they can attest to it. And this is something that we just missed in the contract process. So this is just to help streamline the process.
Great, good catch.
Thank you. The next thing that I have is the ARPA scorecard prioritization, but I think we should actually move this to the last item if you're okay with that, commissioners, and move on to the financial report for now. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, can everybody see the August 2022?
Yep.
Okay, so moving on to page 2 in your handouts, this is the the general fund revenue through August of 2022 and August of 2021. The revenue collected in the general fund through August of 22 is $29,397,000 compared to last year, $28,897,000. We're at 72% of our budgeted revenue this year compared to 73% last year. So we're right in line with where we were last year. So looking good there. Moving on to the treasurer's revenue detail. This is all of the revenue collected in the treasurer's department. So in 2022 through August, we have $20,364,906 compared to last year, $19,243,913. We're at 75% of our budget this year compared to 73% last year. And the increase is mainly due to our sales tax and our city county assistants, which I had emailed you about last month, commissioners. So yeah, our city county assistants is, we're up quite a bit over what we budgeted already. And then we have more coming in. That's a quarterly receipt from REIT. So depending on, sales of property is what that's based on. So moving on to the current expense expenditures, we've got through August of 2022, $26,084,000 spent. And last year we had $24,945,000 spent. So we're at 59% of our budgeted expenditures this year compared to 61% last year, the benchmark being 66.6%. So we're looking very good there. So the special fund 6-year recap, we're kind of all over the board on this one. We have DCD, the community development revenues, down about 500,000 compared to last year, but still up over the previous 4 years prior to 2021. That was just a really great year for them. So then we have the sales tax again is up almost 500,000. So that's looking very good. The rural sales and use tax follows the sales tax, so that's up as well. The homelessness prevention filings are down a little bit compared to last year and the previous year. Lodging taxes up over the previous 5 years, and REIT is a little bit less this year than it was last year, but still up quite a bit over the previous 4 years. So moving on to the sales tax by month, we have collected 868,000 this month, or in August, which is a record for the county. So go sales tax. It's just looking really good for our county. The online sales, I think, is probably what's driving that. If we receive exactly what we did between September and December last year, if we add those amounts into what we've received this year, we will have received about 8.9 million at the end of this year. So our projection is 7.2. So we're way over our projection. For next year, we have budgeted preliminarily for 2023 8.4 million, which again may be too conservative. I don't know, depending on how things look next year. So we may want to relook at that a little bit. Moving on to the 6-year financial recap. We have 25 million in cash and current expense at the end of August. And then I need to add in the $5 million capital reserve that we adopted recently in the reserve policy. But you can see our reserves there. And again, our recap, we are at 72% of our budgeted revenue received compared to 59% of our expenditures expended. And then moving on to all of our special fund cash balances. We're at 55 million roughly for special and other fund cash balances. And that does include, we received our ARPA second installment of about 6.5 million in August. Moving on to the motor pool summary, we have expended in 2022 1.212 million compared to last year. We had expended about 990,000. We're at 80% of our total budget compared to last year. We were at 74%. A big part of that, again, is our or what we go through every month, our capital upfits. We've exceeded the budget that we had put in, so I'll need to adjust that. And then the fuel, we're over on the fuel. So moving on to the special fund revenue, we are through August of this year, we have received 43,536,000 compared to last year 40,787,000. We're at 54% of our total budget this year compared to 71% last year. And on the expenditures for the special and other funds, we are at 30,385,000 expended compared to 31,278,000 expended last year. We're at 35% of our total budget this year compared to 46% last year. So any questions or comments on any of this?
Great job.
I might just highlight some of the differences there in the, compared to previous years. You see a pretty significant increase of 67 million to 87 million in our budgeted amounts. And it looks like this Kokomish flood zone is a large part of that balance.
Yeah, the special funds, because they're so variable from year to year, it's hard to take a comparison. Like the general fund, we don't have a lot of capital costs in there, so it's easier to compare from one year to the next. So the special funds, not so much. So thanks for pointing that out, Mark. So So I'll stop my share if there's no questions or comments on any of that. Okay, so the next item that I have is on the 2023, the budget workshop process. So the county's auditor financial services department, they completed the 2023 preliminary budget, and it was posted on the county's website on Tuesday, September 6th, as required by law. And so now it becomes the commissioner's budget, and a copy of the big colorful budget level spreadsheet was sent out to all the departments for them to use as their project level request worksheet. And we had a training last Thursday. And so departments, some have already gotten back to me on that and returned their completed budget narratives, but they are due from departments Wednesday, September 21st. And then we will plan on starting to meet with the board, those departments that have the PLRs that want to meet and talk about their requests. So I just wanted to talk to you commissioners and see how you wanted to meet, if you want to meet by Zoom or if you want to do in person, and then what dates in October you want to start meeting. And also the first presentation will be where we're at on our budget. So we'll have the preliminary budget ask, and then compared to the budget level 3, which is the commissioner's maintenance level budget at that point in time. So that'll be the first meeting, is kind of an overall picture of where we're at. And then starting on meeting with the separate departments, if you're in agreement. But that's how I'm picturing it happening.
Did you have dates in mind for October that you want us to look at?
I mean, last year we did, and the previous few years we've done like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and that seems to work out pretty well. Just after briefing normally, and then after the meeting on Tuesday if necessary, or Wednesday morning. So that's what I was kind of picturing, but I'm open to whatever your schedules permit, or if there's a time that absolutely doesn't work for you, we can, kind of rule that out. But I just kind of wanted to see if you wanted to start on, October 3rd, have the overview, and then start meeting with departments. After that, try to get it slammed into that first couple of weeks, or how do you want to?
I'd like to start after the first week in October.
Okay, so like the 10th?
That'd work for me.
Yeah, that'll work for me.
Yeah, and I think in the meantime, it would be helpful to solicit the departments to see who wants to do a presentation and have a workshop on their PLRs, and then we can kind of determine demand there, and then that'll help us, I think, fill in how many dates we think we might need for workshops.
Okay, great.
And then I also I'm fine continuing with Zoom. I think being able to do share screen and walk through things like that is a lot clearer, at least for me. And I think since we're televising these, I think the public as well, I think it's easier to see on the screen like that. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree. I really enjoy being able to see it up on my computer and knowing that everybody watching has that same option.
I prefer Zoom as well. It's really nice for me to be able to share the documents through Zoom. So it's, yeah, very nice that way. And one thing I forgot to ask you is, do you want just electronic copies, or would you like paper copies of the documents?
I prefer electronic.
I do as well.
And I do both. So you do the electronic when you do the presentation, but I like to hold it and do markups.
Okay. And another thing, this year, when I rolled it out to the departments, I gave it to everyone as one giant document. So I will not be breaking it up per department this year like I have in the past. So, I mean, it will be subtotaled, but each department will not have separate documents as far as the colorful budget level spreadsheet goes. So, just a slight change from last year. So, okay, we'll do Zoom starting October 10th, and I will find out who needs a meeting with you, and we'll go from there.
Pretty impressive. This should be fairly easy this year. We're looking at a total of $4 million difference in requests on the preliminary. $3 million is in one department. So that means 1 million in excess of status quo for all the rest of the departments.
Yeah, it didn't look like anyone went too crazy in their budget asks this year in the general fund. So that's nice. Okay, great. Thank you. So we'll move on then, if there's no other discussion on the budget, to the ARPA scorecard prioritization. And I'll share my screen for that. I can find it. Okay, so this is the result, commissioners, of everybody's scoring of the projects, and we haven't emailed this out to the commissioners yet. We'll do that, but I wanted to make sure that you didn't have any other changes that you wanted to see on this. This includes Commissioner Trask, Schutte, and Netherlands individual scores, and then the score as a total, and then the scores put in order here of the scoring. So we have, forget how many projects we have on here, 1 through 33. So, or actually we have, yeah, 33 projects. Okay, so the scoring may be different than how you want to rank each project, just because of the way the scoring was worded. It's more geared towards capital projects. So that might not necessarily be how you want to prioritize the projects. So these columns in pink are for each commissioner to rank the project. And we did put in Commissioner Trask's suggested funding amounts that she had originally come up with. And then at the bottom, we have how much funding out of the 6.3 million is left. So here you can see we have a negative dollar amount left over. So we would need to, trim back some of this, some of the project dollar amounts here. So how would you like to do this, commissioners? Do you want a chance to look at this and then have me bring it back again next week with your individual project ranking, and it may be the same as this, the scoring ranking, or it may be different again. And then you can plug in your dollar amounts that you would like, and then we can go back and look at that again next week.
Now, what are you looking for exactly on that? Because I'm trying to, can you go to the top, please?
Yeah.
If we utilize the numbers of our scoring, I have some that I think went up as high as into the 5s using the matrix. And I have some that are down, I remember one on a park that was down way on the bottom. That would be my normal ranking according to the scale. Are you asking for a personal ranking? But isn't that also what some of these numbers are? For example, on this top one, Shelton Springs, Commissioner Trask gave it 850 points. I gave it 320. That shows our rankings. So what exactly are you looking for?
I think for me, if I can jump in real quick, that didn't show my ranking. That just showed the score that in my opinion, as far as the scale goes, that's how I gave, I mean, that's the score that I gave them. It's not necessarily the ranking.
Yeah, what I'm most interested in is what projects you want to fund and how much. And then we need to agree on that dollar amount to fund for which projects. So that's what I would like to see or decide on. And yeah, I mean, as you can see, as Commissioner Trask stated, the ranking doesn't necessarily, or the scoring doesn't necessarily fall in line with the ranking in her particular, assigning of funding. So I'm assuming that for Commissioner Trask, like these would be your top ranked projects where you've assigned dollars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that's what I'm kind of looking for is, which projects do you really want to see funding on in number order, and then how much, and then, deciding as a commission.
So I think, for me at least, the scores are pretty representative of where I would rank the projects, maybe with a couple of exceptions. So I think my approach to this would be my plan would be just to go through and for projects that I ranked, put in a dollar figure for, where I would fund that. If it didn't rank very well, I think that dollar number would probably be 0. But go through and just sort of parse it that way. I don't think my scores would be all that different than how I would rank a project 1 through 33 or whatever. But because ultimately, I think where we need to get here is to the dollar amounts, versus just a pure ranking of the projects.
Okay. So do you want to skip the ranking altogether and then just put in dollar amounts that you want on the projects that you want funded? Just put dollar amounts and then we can see where we come in at. I mean, one thing, if we put dollar amounts in there and the project can't be completed with, the amount of funding that we are suggesting, we'll need to go back, check with the applicants to see if they can even do the project. I mean, there's those kind of variables in this equation as well. So I don't know if you have any suggestions, Mark, or ideas about how to prioritize this in the most efficient way.
Well, that's the tough part, right? So we've got $26 million in requests and we got $6.3 million to divvy out. I think that the concern that we had about throwing ranks in there just based on the numbers, commissioners, was that some of the projects that have capital are going to have a higher number just because they're capital related, and didn't want to make an assumption that would automatically assume that you preferred that project over something that wasn't capital. So if we could go through and maybe just cut out some of the projects that we know we're not interested in funding, that would at least winnow down the list to really get into the nuts and bolts details of the projects that we do want to start to take a closer look at.
So I'm looking at my numbers right here. For example, Belfair Water Backup Generator. You know, I hold that a little dear, but at the same time, because of the structure that was given me, I went with the structure, and that's the number I came up with based on that structure. With a personal, application of funds, I would put more towards that. So I guess my question is, if we were to do that, which I have no problem doing that, I actually think that's better than the structure that where we weighted it here. Do you want an exact amount, or would you like to round it up to like 10 million and then argue with the points that are there afterwards, or what are you thinking?
I would recommend, Commissioner, and thank you for pointing that out, because that's a perfect example of what we're trying to avoid by not putting your ranks in there just by numbers. But I think that what I'd like to do is kind of go through there and prioritize the projects, see if we have agreement with all three commissioners on projects that are near and dear to their hearts that they'd like to see move forward, see how much money we're looking at, and then we could go back and start winnowing down the amount that we would fund for each one of those projects. But if we could just identify projects that we want to contribute some of this ARPA funding to, I think that will help us get to the point where we can start to discuss additional details about how much.
So to simplify things down, are you asking us maybe to pick 10 things that we would like to support out of the 35 things and then see what's left? What are you thinking?
Well, it's kind of tough because they're all different amounts, right? So, if you pick I'll use the Belfair Sewer Extension, $5.2 million. If we were to fund it all, then we just ate up everything but about $1 million left on that project. And I don't think that that's the intent of the commissioners, but if the commissioners wanted to dedicate some money to the Belfair Sewer Extension, then absolutely we should be able to put that on the list. So I think
what I'm asking is, do you want us to, because if there's 30 some odd different units here, do you want us just to slim it down and then discuss the numbers? So for example, ask us what our top 5 is, or top 6, top 10.
Are you guys prepared to kind of give us a top 5?
I could probably do a top 10.
Top 10, okay.
Right now, or?
No, but
okay. Yeah.
I mean, I could give you a top 10 right now, but I would prefer to have a little bit more time given what you presented here this morning.
Yeah, same with me. I'd like to go through it and have a little bit of time to study it.
Yeah, I mean, and the scoring, I mean, a good example to me is the city of Shelton. Like, that project might be the gravity sewer extension. That project might be very important to the county, but we should probably take into consideration that the city has also received ARPA funding that they could contribute towards that project. So that's, one thing that the scoring wouldn't take into consideration, that sort of thing. So yeah, I think ranking the projects 1 through 10 would be good, and we can see if there's any funding left over after that.
Okay, so do you want us to rank them or just give you our top 10?
What I would prefer is if you, sorry, Jen, didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
I think ranking them 1 through 10 would be better. Then we could see, whose priority is 1. I mean, if you have a number 1, I don't know. What do you think, Mark?
You know what? I think that I like the idea of top 10. And I also like the idea of a suggested dollar amount that you'd like to put in there. So you all know that we're dealing with about $6.3 million to divvy out. So give us your priority top 10 and the dollar amount that you would contribute to that project. And then we can compare notes and identify similarities between the commissioners. And then we can kind of hash out and fight over the details of the ones that are dissimilar.
And I can tell you straight out, for myself, I have personal beliefs that I would like I'm going to throw into what numbers I put in there. For example, the Belfort water backup generators, which I'm very much in favor of. I would expect the organization to come up with some of that money themselves. So by me having a lower number than what they have, it's not going to mean that I don't want it. I just think that putting skin in the game equals the playing field with some of these projects.
And I think it helps us distribute out funds to a broader range of projects too. So I'm not against that approach at all. We would contact them and just to verify with them, as Jen was describing earlier, that if they did not receive the total amount, would they still be able to get the project completed? So that may be a question that we have to follow up and ask some of these requesters.
Okay, great. So we'll email this out with a little bit of instruction and a time frame as far as getting it back to us so that we can brief the results. So what do you think, by the end of the week?
I could get it to you by Wednesday noon. That
Well,
way-
even if you get it to us by Wednesday noon, we would need time to work on it. So if we did it by the end of the day Tuesday, then we could brief it on the following Monday.
Right, and that way everybody could have it, the public could have a chance to take a look at it also after it's posted.
The end of the day Tuesday as in tomorrow, or the end of the day Tuesday next week?
Tomorrow.
Just depends on
If
how
you want it
quickly it gets
briefed on
sent out.
Monday. What was that?
I said, depends on how quickly it gets out to us. And
Oh, we can have it out in a few minutes.
great.
Okay, great. Then we will put that it's due end of the day Tuesday, and then we'll brief it on next Monday, the results. Okay, thank you. That was all that I have.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Mark?
Nothing else, Commissioner. Thank you.
Commissioners, anything else? Okay.
Just a comment again, I'm very happy when I look at that budget, our elected officials and what they've put forward, our staff. You know, this one's pretty darn good. They definitely did not go over the top on this one. There's a lot, and I hope that we can grant them some of these things since they're so small. If they think they can run their organization with the amount they're asking, I think we all did well this next budget cycle.
Yeah, just, hats off to Leo and the financial services team over in the auditor's office for, compiling the preliminary budget. And it's a ton of work that goes into that. And it's honestly, it's the tip of the iceberg, but I think this is the most realistic, reality-based preliminary budget I've seen in my almost 6 years here. So this is, I think things are trending in the right way in terms of how this process should play out, based on not just needs, but also just on the reality of where we stand financially.
Pretty exciting, I think.
Great. Okay. Well, we've hit the end of our agenda. If there's no other discussion, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Motion carries. And we'll see everybody tomorrow morning.
Great. Have a good one.